Good morning, Stalybridge. Welcome to the Stalybridge Town Sofa. We have our first guest, Mr. John Fellows, Head of Fundraising and PR with Willow Wood for over 20 years.
I can't believe it's almost 20 years to the day that my relationship started with Willow Wood.
Well, everybody I've spoken to this last couple of weeks is very sorry you're leaving, but where did the journey begin with Willow Wood?
Well, the journey began, I was at Wigan Hospice back in the, dare I say, the late 1990s, and I was approached by the then trustees of the former Tameside and Glossop Hospice Appeal to come down and talk to them about a possible relationship, and obviously I was successful, and I'd like to thank you, Dave, for those kind words. As you will appreciate, I'm moving on to the next chapter of my life, but I'm going to be obviously my notes on the table that you can't see say a little sad. No, I'm going to be very sad. I'm leaving such a wonderful place. Willow Wood has been a major part of my life for the last 20 years, but it's been more than a job. It's been a vocation, and during that period of time I've met some wonderful people and made some true friends, but more importantly I'm delighted and honoured to have been part of such a wonderful team at Willow Wood, and through that connection we have really made the difference to the lives of a lot of local people.
I know, I've met some of those people. I've done a bit of research, and I've met you on a few occasions
We have
before,
met,
but
yeah.
you may not remember, and some of the events I've seen you get involved in.
Yes, we've always worked on the principle that we wanted to put the fun back into fundraising, and who's ever going to forget 2,000 pink-clad ladies walking through Stalybridge?
Yeah.
They raised £165,000 in one night,
Wow.
and then to do the same again the following year. Was tremendous, and that's going to be a lasting memory.
It's one of my lasting memories. I lived on High Street for a while. And
Right.
I saw
I'm sorry if we woke you up.
No apologies necessary. It was nothing but fun.
But we have had so many good times. Obviously, one of the greatest times was when we first opened the hospice, which was on the 5th of May 1999. That was a major step, because we'd raised 1.9 million to actually build Willow Wood itself. Wow. Almost every penny of that came from the local communities. Willow Wood has been at the heart of the local people.
Where did you start trying to raise 1.9 million pounds?
Through awareness, through obviously doing the research. There was a definite need for a hospice for Tameside and Glossop. And that was its first name. It was the Tameside and Glossop Hospice, which the hospice was originally going to be built up at Tameside Hospital, but due to development up there, the land that had been allocated wasn't big enough, so we had a meeting with Roy Oldham, and he actually offered us the land at the top of Willow Wood Close. So we went through a period where, when we first started, nobody had heard of Tameside and Glossop Hospice Appeal. We then changed the name to Willow Wood, so people were slightly confused, thinking there was two hospices.
Yeah.
But we did start to change things very quickly, and building started in true terms in January 1998. We then spent a year building Willow Wood, and then was opened on the 5th of May 1999. And that was what was then the day hospice. We then opened our inpatients on the 27th of September 99, and ever since then we have been a fully fledged 24-hour care operation for the people of Tameside and Glossop.
See, I visited Willow Wood, I've visited friends there, I'm sure a lot of people have visited. It's a beautiful place. It creates such an environment up there.
It's what we've always tried to do, is to create like a home from home. Obviously we've got clinical experiences to take into consideration, but we really did want it to not be like a hospital, and that has been proven.
Definitely, definitely. So, what are your happiest memories of fundraising with Willow Wood then?
Well, varying, because I was responsible for all the fundraising. Obviously, I'm very proud of the success of the Hospice Lottery. I don't know if you're a member yet, but I'll sign you up before I go.
Yes, definitely.
And we have over 8,000 people who pay a regular donation of £1 a week. And that really has underpinned the financial security of the hospice for many years. As has the retail operation, and of course here we are in Stalybridge. One of the highlights was the transformation of the former Pad nightclub.
And we actually posted on that recently.
Yeah, that's well. We kept the name the Pad because the Pad actually stands for purchase and donate.
Yeah.
So that was the reason we kept that. Nothing to do with the cost of actually taking the old signs down. So you know, we saved some money there.
See, my daughter loves it in there.
It's a wonderful
She's
place.
5.
Yeah.
We have to go in.
Yeah.
She calls it the bookshop.
The bookshop. Well, there's the Pad was one of the very first charitable department stores where we had furniture, we've got baby clothes, we have records, we've got books, and of course now we've got the very, very popular Pad Cafe.
Very popular. My mum goes every Saturday.
Good. But it's a wonderful community operation, and you know, that was one of the good times when we opened there. It was quite frightening really when we first walked in, because the previous owners had done a moonlight flit, and we actually stuck to the floor.
Yeah.
So
people
who went to the pad will know what it was probably like.
It was a shame. When it first opened, it was a lovely place.
Yeah.
In the later times,
Yeah.
it kind of went a little bit down.
It did get itself a bit of a reputation,
it
didn't
did.
it? Yeah. So yeah, but that I've mentioned the 2,000 pink-clad ladies. Another highlight was when we sold 65,000 50p tickets for the car raffle in 4 months.
Right.
The success of our 99ers business club. These are like-minded local businesses who are supporting Willow Wood, and we have over 50 members now. That's another memory of the good times. And one of the last memories is actually happened last year when our wonderful army of volunteers were recognised in the Queen's Award for voluntary service and won their MBEs, because that is the equivalent.
It was. I saw the pictures of them at the palace, and they look like very proud people, and so they should be.
But those were Ron Godsill and Pat Wortlake. They are the two longest serving male and female volunteers, and it was an obvious choice that we asked if they would represent Willow Wood down at the palace. At the time, they didn't know that we had been awarded this wonderful acknowledgement. So we had to bend the truth slightly, because we had to keep everything quiet. That garden party took place about the 24th of May. We weren't allowed to say anything until the official announcement from Buckingham Palace on the 2nd of June. So
Right, okay.
as people who know me, I can talk for England when I'm talking about Willow Wood, and to actually then find I had to keep quiet was somewhat difficult. But carrying on with the good times, Dave, we have organised our Ascot Ladies' Day every year. In fact, the last one was the latter part of June this year. 200 ladies crammed into the Village Hotel in Ashton. It's remarkable. I can't keep one lady under control, so I had no chance with 200.
No comment.
The Willow Ball, marvellous memory back in 2003 when we had the Willow Ball at the Palace Hotel in Manchester, and that was on the night when England won the Rugby World Cup.
Right. Okay.
And
The Johnny Wilkinson drop.
well, that was it. That was in the morning, but we had our very own World Cup winner there that night. Patron Bobby Charlton
Right.
honoured us with his presence, and he came in and sort of as the compere for the evening, asked everybody to stand up and to welcome Sir Bobby, and we then sang the the rugby national anthem, Swing Low. You know, so
Fantastic.
I think a few people thought I'd lost my marbles again that night. But
There must be videos of that night.
no, I think that was before videos came
That's
out.
a shame.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
But yeah, another memory, you know, when we had a 23-seater bike in the Manchester to Blackpool bike ride.
Right.
And ended up having to tow some of it, which is strictly against the rules.
Right.
So I've always worked on the principle that where I would never ask anybody to do something I wasn't prepared to do myself. However, that was tested in 2003 and 4 when we organised the fire walk. And to stand at the end of a 20-foot runway of flames, that was there. But the training was brilliant. Overcame that and went down without any marks or burns or scalds.
What were the white knuckle type things have you experienced through Willow Wood then?
Not necessarily white knuckle. I've done those in previous lives. But again, another fun time was being asked to judge the poppadom making world record at the Indian Ocean.
Right. Okay.
That was fun, and of course, you know, we were delighted to be part of the Stalybridge Splash. The wacky races here in Stalybridge. People have often asked me why we didn't go ahead with the wacky races. It was actually the cost of putting the event together. People very kindly give us donations to provide care, and we couldn't guarantee the necessary income. So, but you know, things like road closures and everything of that nature.
Yeah.
But those were the good times. There has been some very sad times.
I was going to say there was some downs as well.
Yeah,
Hospice.
it was the tragic passing, death of former matron Barbara Robinson. There was the loss of colleagues, June, Chris, Dave, and recently the passing of two of the founding trustees, Peter Wood and Sidney Rogerson. You know, those were sad times. Another bad time really is when we first opened. You know, we had about 8 weeks worth of money in the bank.
It's taking a big risk.
Yeah, well, you know, we knew that the people of Tameside, they'd raised 1.9 million to build Willow Wood. So, well, they continue to raise the 2.3 million it costs every year to keep us going now. So, because all our services are totally free of charge.
So, as a ballpark, do you have an actual figure of how much funds you've raised since you started there over the last 20 years?
I don't. I've never really sort of looked at it.
It must be quite phenomenal.
Well, you know, but it's not me. It has been the people of the community who have raised this money. They've helped us in so many different ways, from jumping out of aeroplanes to there's a gentleman from Stalybridge who actually went on a wing walk recently, to making pots of jam. It all helps, and these things I hear on a regular basis is that you know, I'm sorry John, it's not more, but it all adds up. And everybody's contribution, whether it's £5 or £50,000, everything is so vitally required.
It's got continuity as well, because the duck race this year must be one of the biggest.
The duck race, I knew you were going to get the duck race. The duck race we've held for, I think, the last 17 years. 2,000 plastic ducks on a canal. You know, which idiot is going to organise a duck race on a canal that has no flow? But it's been fun. We've had a lot of support, and this year Red Watch at Stalybridge Fire Station came down specifically to help us with our larger ducks. These were about 10 times bigger than the normal duck.
So is that the first time you've done the corporate?
The corporate duck was the first one, and Stalybridge Town very kindly had a duck in there, as did the music centre. We had
a lot of the businesses.
A lot of the businesses
enjoyed themselves.
But again, going back to this fundraising has to be fun. Finally, Dave, what I would like to do is just turn and face the camera, because I would like personally to thank the wonderful communities of Tameside, of Glossop, for their wonderful and unfailing support over the last 20 plus years. It's because of your support we have been able to care for so many local people in need of our services. If it hadn't been for you, things would have been so much different, and we wouldn't be able to care for the people who need specialist care. So it's going to be an emotional time over the next couple of weeks. I hope to meet and say thank you to many of our volunteers and my colleagues, but if this isn't possible, please just accept my sincere thanks. Thank you.
And can I just say on behalf of everyone from Stalybridge, thank you.
Thank you
very much. You've become a very popular and
Yeah.
well-loved person.
Well, that's very kind of you.
Long may Willow Wood continue.
I second that.
You leave a lot of legacies behind you, so you should be very proud.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Do we now tell that I am the guinea pig today, and this is the
Yeah,
first time?
I was just going to
so,
say,
I hope it's gone well.
I hope you've enjoyed our first interview on the
Yeah.
Stalybridge Town Sofa.
Yeah.
We've got more guests coming up. We've got Jonathan Reynolds coming up on Friday morning, and lots more after that. So yes, thank you for being our guinea pig. And again, we will speak again.
And not one mobile phone rang.
Not a single one. We're all very well behaved as well. But yes, appreciate it. Thank you again.
No,
Thank you.
appreciate it. Thanks for the invitation.